Stick with me till the end. I have a lot of very powerful tips I've been implementing on my client accounts, on my own account. It's been moving the needle, and I'm going to walk you all through it step by step right now, so let's not waste any time. The very first thing is, I get this a lot. Chris, I'm Chris. All my competitors are putting keywords into their brand section, into their name. It's against the guidelines. It can cause a revalidation. It can even get your account shut down. Even if it's temporary, you're going to lose phone calls. If in your niche, it's a massive competitive advantage to put the keywords into the name section, then please do yourself a $40 favor and get a DBA, doing business as, and add the keywords into your actual name. So that way there's no question. Actionable tip number 2. The amount of categories. I'll log into client accounts. They'll be flooded with categories. The more precise you can be with about your brand, your business, and what you do, and it's corresponding to your website, the more transparent you can be to you and Google, to your customers, the happier Google is. So this number 2 tip is limit the amount of categories you're using. If you can get it to 1 and get it super precise, the better off you are. Maximum 2. And that's this section here, this particular section right here. Now, the next tip that I want to give you, tip number 3, has to do with service area, your service area. Now, I'm a digital marketer. This is my personal account. I'm very public. I'm doing a test right now. But every single client that I get, whatever their precise location is. So if they're actually only doing a county, I put the county. If they operate in a state, I only put a state. In past years, I used to do little triangles. I'd pick a certain section. Now, wherever I'm actually doing business, the more precise, the better off you are with your service area. So my business is in Pennsylvania. If I did business in all of Pennsylvania or more than one county, I'd put Pennsylvania. If I'm really only doing business in a particular county or 2 counties, I'll write those 2 counties. You want to be very, very precise, because remember, Google's tracking where your phone calls come from. Google's tracking IPs of who's coming to your website. Google knows what you're visiting. Google knows your phone. You're attached. They're watching everything. All of the data is connected. You're not going to get a benefit by stuffing stuff in here. Believe me, the more precise, the better off you'll be. Tip number 3. The next tip is, and I wrote down a bunch of tips for you, actionable tips. I just was racking my brain. Hey, what have I been doing that's actually moving the needle? I saved the best stuff for last, so stick with me here. So the next piece is consistent posting. Time and time again, I'll run into clients that they've been posting maybe once every other week. Their argument is always, it's a pain in the butt. I have to write something. I have to think of something. But please, let me go ahead and show you that if you can just be consistent with posting, meaning to Google, that you actually care about your Google My Business listing, that you're taking the time to put a post up. If you care, they care enough to share that post. As you start posting, you'll start getting more views, getting more attention, more traffic, more clicks. The more traffic and more clicks that you get to your actual listing, the higher it's going to rank. User signals are number 1. So if coming up with something is a pain, take it from McDonald's. All right, let me just share something with you. Pick anything you want, any state, any country. Let's go to New York City McDonald's. Take it from McDonald's. It's not the quality, it's the consistency that matters. So when you come over here, you could do this anywhere you want. Okay, New York City McDonald's. It could be literally anywhere. We come into here, you go over to maps. You can pick any listing you want. Take a look at the photos. Take a look at the actual post. You can come to, all of these are different. As you can see, other than 1 or 2, they're all using the same exact post, the same exact words, the same exact image, and this is across every single location. Just pick a location out of your hat in the United States, it'll be the same. Consistency is key. If you don't want to take my word for it, then take McDonald's word for it. All right, consistency is more important. User signals are the #1 metric for ranking other than proximity. Remember that, my friends. So let's keep moving on. So now that we've taken care of consistent posting, consistent images, you can use the same thing over and over and over again. That leads me to the next tip with showing importance to Google, and Google will show importance to you by utilizing events. All right, so inside of posts, you can see that there's events, there's updates, and there's offers. If I can send validated traffic from outside sources and spend money to send real traffic to my GMB listing to show Google that I care about my listing, you will absolutely 100% without any shadow of a doubt see an increase. What I mean by this is Facebook or other Google ads into your listing I've seen consistent and persistent bumps in traffic from that point forward. So buy ads, send them to an event or an offer. Show Google that you care about your Google My Business listing, and I promise you, you won't be sorry. And stick with me till the end. I'll show you some other evidence of pumping traffic to the listing and then Google testing me for other keywords. Stick with me, all right? So I've been running big tests on user engagement and signals within GMB, and I've been seeing this across the board. I've implemented it on 2 other client accounts now, what I've been learning, and it's been working like gangbusters. So stick with me. The next piece is listing traffic to the listing, or pushing traffic to the listing. That's the one that we just did. The more prominence you can show on your listing to Google, sending traffic and creating offers through GMB, creating events through GMB, and then pushing traffic, that's showing Google that you care about your listing. All right, that is massive. Now, the next piece that I want to share with you, and I'm only showing you my stuff because that's what I'm allowed to do, all right? Can't show you all my client stuff. I simply cannot do that. I've only got the okay from 2 other clients, and one of them just canceled, so I don't want any issues. So let's move on. Customer image reviews. Again, it goes back to the same concept. When there's customer image reviews, it makes the reviews more relevant. The more relevant the reviews, the more relevant the business. The more relevant the business, the more you get traffic. What do I mean by this? Google is showing importance inside of reviews based on relevance. Let me share this with you. And what makes a review even more relevant is when an actual customer not only writes a relevant review, and we're going to talk about this in the next tip, but they also add a relevant photo. That review now is more relevant. So this is a 2-part tip here. Stick with me here. Let me share with you. I'm just going to share with you what I mean with my account here. So if you come over to Chris Palmer, SEO Las Vegas, okay, I'm going to share with you what I mean by a review image. Okay, if we come over here to Maps, and you go to Chris Palmer SEO, and you take a look at my reviews, all right, as you can see here, inside of, let me go back over here. Stick with me. We come to here. Let's go to Google. We go to Chris Palmer SEO Las Vegas. Okay. I have a location over there. When we take a look at these reviews, okay, here's the reviews, add a photo. All right. See how there's a photo section here? Now, when we take a look at the reviews, I want you to see how Google sorts them. They sort them by relevance. So what makes them relevant? Well, there's 2 things, and this goes into my 2 tips, all right? The first tip is make your reviews more relevant. The more I can show users care about my listing, the more relevant my listing is. The more relevant it is, the higher it ranks. Okay, so that's one part of it. You can make your reviews more relevant and show more prominence to your listing by having your customers upload reviews. This doesn't mean that you can't curate them and help coax your customers into posting photos for you. Okay, you've already done the work. It can be part of the offer. I'm just saying you can work and weave that into your business any way you want. It makes your listing more powerful. Period, end. So here's the review. This is the most relevant. See how they sort by relevance? It's relevance, newest, highest, and lowest. So this is relevant. Now let me take this relevant to the next step, and here's what I want you to do. Here's the tip, a massive tip. Not only are the reviews very helpful, right? But adding the images makes it more helpful. But I want you to pay close mind to the words that are inside of the reviews for relevance. Just like inside of your page, for your on-page SEO, if my keyword is plumber New York, if I use the phrase plumber New York on my website enough times, I'm optimized. But if I use words like sink, wrench, wrenches, tool belt, those are called co-occurring words or LSI words. Those words are what makes my business listing or my web page more relevant. So I'm optimized, but I want to be the most relevant. Who usually wins for rankings? What's more relevant? It's the same with Google My Business. So what I want you to do to be able to craft perfect reviews, because you're probably going to have some type of communication with your customers, I hope, and if you don't, you should. Get them on your text list. Get them on your email list. You need to have communication with them, even if you have to give them a percentage off or a discount or anything. Do it. Will help move the needle massively. Please, let me share this with you. So regardless of your industry, you can do this. I always stick with the same exact thing. The first thing that comes to mind is roofers, Miami, okay? Now, here's how you do this. You come over here to anybody's review, any niche. You take a look at their business. When you come over here to their reviews, okay? Let's come over here to their reviews. Oh, those are ads. I'm sorry. Stick with me here. When I come into their reviews, bear with me. I come into their reviews. They're sorted by relevance. So, okay, this is the most relevant for roofers. So this is one. So if my business is in Pennsylvania, I've gone to Miami now and collected the most relevant review. Okay, now I have one. Okay, I know what makes up a relevant review. Study it, look at it, even take the actual words out. But don't stop there, collect a few of them. So again, it's going to be roofer, Virginia, okay? I'm telling you how you can craft perfect reviews, and then as the added bonus, also give them the photos to upload. I have the most relevant. If I have the most relevant, I increase in rank. So it's the same thing. You come into a business, you find it, you go to the reviews. This guy has 304 reviews. I have the most relevant review. And look what's up at the top. The reviews with the images. I'm trying to give you tips that will actually help you move the needle. Nobody tells you this stuff. I'm here to tell you this. I want you to succeed in your business. All right, let's move on. I have more tips for you. Number 6, write your customer reviews. And that was the 6th tip, but that's what I mean. So we're gathering up the reviews. Now we have 2 different states, 2 different cities, the most relevant review. We could literally, if we wanted to be Black Hat, we could swap out their names and their brand names and anything else that's related to those cities and just make them relevant for us. Create 2 photos, geo-set them, send them to our customers and give them a 2% coupon if they'd be willing to share a review for us that contains this image. And oh, by the way, I've even written you the review, right? But when we write our reviews, we want them to be the most relevant. Relevance equals ranking increase. Try it out for yourself. Okay, moving on. The next thing that I want to share with you is products and services match your site, okay? Now, when you come inside of here, there's 2 separate opportunities, your products and your services. Now, depending on your business, you might have products and you might also offer services, but in a lot of cases, your product is your service and your service is your product. This needs to match and mirror over to your site. What do I mean by this? So inside of your products tab, all right, inside of your services tab, you're able to also put in details. I'm rebuilding my site, so I've cleared the other section out. I'm rebuilding stuff. But after my rebuild, what I'm putting on my website, the same goes for you. When you're looking at your website, where your H tag is, let's say it was SEO services. Whatever I write underneath here is what's going to be over here on my listing. So after I'm done redoing my website, this is going to say right here, instead of search engine optimization, it's going to say SEO services. And it's going to be right here, SEO services. Whatever I write under here, I'm going to put right here. And why is this important? Because again, we want to be transparent not only to ourselves, not only to our customers, but of course to Google. Why? Because trust is a ranking factor. There's something called a trust score. We want to have an awesome trust score. It'll help us succeed. That's like check number one. So how do we know that being relevant, being transparent, and matching and mirroring is important? Let me show you why. So when we come over here to any business, if I'm looking for roofing, North Virginia Beach. Okay, let's just take that for instance. We're just looking for anything. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you how I know. Google is going to, I'm going to see if I could get one to pop for me. Okay, so internet marketing service. Okay. Digital. I'm just looking for one to make a point here for you guys so you guys know what I'm talking about. I just want you guys to see it like I know it. Okay, I want you to see it how I know it. Okay, let me come into here briefly. And how I know, I'm going to do one more. New York. Give me one moment just to prove this brief point. All right, when we scroll down the list here, okay, what we're looking for is the website mentions digital marketing. The website mentions SEO services. I can't pull up an example on the fly, but I know you have seen this. I know I've seen this. I've been seeing this for 2-3 years now. So my massive tip here is be transparent with your customers, be transparent with Google. And what you're going to end up finding out is if you can match and mirror your products and services on your GMB to your customers and with Google, you will be rewarded for it. Let me just take one last quick look here. Oh, watch this. How about this? SEO services, New York. Give me one last, one more time to try here to see if I could get it to pop up. We'll go to Google last time just to make sure I can show you. SEO service, NYC. Let's just see what pops up here. I don't see it. Well, I was really hoping to get one to pop for us. Provides marketing consulting services. I'm assuming that this is what's over there on their website. This little check mark here is probably what's over there. Either that or they are a registered. It says provides. I think that that's maybe they changed. Oh, here we go. I found one. Their website mentions search engine optimization services. There it is. Okay, I'm glad I was able to pull one. It probably took me 30 seconds, but I wanted to share that with you. So matching and mirroring, being transparent, mostly not only to your customers and to yourself. You need to be transparent with yourself, be honest with yourself, but to Google the most, trust is a factor. Okay, let's keep moving on. I'm glad I could show that to you. The next piece is this. And this is one of the biggest that we have been noticing. And this plays part with the Facebook ads that we talked about in earlier tips. I believe tip number 4. All right. I'm not going to walk you through this, maybe in a later video, but we are seeing massive success on 2 particular sites. I've been running a very simple system. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share with you something briefly here. There's a section in here called messaging. Okay, turn on messaging. Also, Google will strip it away. All right, I already messaged this guy on my phone and then removed it, so I'm not worried about this. But if you don't message them back within 24 hours, Google will take away your privilege to use messaging. Remember the theme. User signals, user engagement increases rank. So think about this. Facebook traffic over. Okay, remember this messaging system. We have an event, we have an offer. Facebook traffic over to the event and offers. That's one piece of it. We're generating interest. The second piece of it is turn messaging on. Make sure you're answering your customers within 24 hours. And when you're pushing this traffic over, I want to share with you something so you're up on the ball and you're answering your facts, which I have one last tip for you after this. It's going to be another juicy one for you that I'm sure a lot of people will probably be copying from me, right? But that's okay. That's good. I want more people to use these tips so people can actually start succeeding. So let me take a look here. Dialog-flow. Okay. This is an actual chatbot that you can utilize within Google My Business. This isn't the one that we've been using. We've been using, I messaged him before, it's called Flutter. But this Dialog-flow and Flutter, they're both owned by Google. This is supposed to be the easier one that you can use. Flutter is what we have been using. They actually work together tandemly. But you can install this bot to answer simple questions. So that way you're up to par on your listing. It's a way to interact with customers instantly, especially when you're running traffic. You want to be able to respond to them ASAP, especially for simple questions. And you do not want this feature to be shut off. It is very, very, very powerful. It's one of the most powerful features they have ever released, and I promise you that. If you can get interaction inside of this and get them to actually start making actions, I guarantee you rankings. Let me move on to the next piece. The next piece after this, and last but not least, and I've shared a tidbit of this before, and it is the questions and answers. So if we take a look here at Chris Palmer Marketing, but as I started doing this for other clients, what I started doing to make it a little bit more semantic was this. So you have your questions and answers within Google My Business. So as you can see here, you can see the questions. Here's a question, here's an answer. How long have you been performing search engine optimization? 10 years. Actually now it's been 12 years. And there's questions and answers. Now, as I've been doing this for clients, the way I was able to get these to stick, which I didn't share in past videos, is I was taking these questions and putting them into my schema on my facts page on my website. Past videos, I didn't share this step because I figured that if you were doing this, you would answer those same questions on the site. But when you want these to stick and you want them to stand out even more inside of your facts page, or depending if they're service-based or product-based questions, you can put them on the actual service or product pages inside of your schema. So it could just be one question, which is question schema, or if you have multiple questions, that's going to be your fact schema. So that was actually 12 tips all wrapped up. They were all actionable. They are all tips that will help you move the needle for your business, regardless if it's a small business, a medium business, a large business, doesn't matter. My name is Chris Palmer. If you have questions about Google My Business or anything Google Maps SEO related, never hesitate, ask in the comments below, and I always look forward to seeing you in the next Google My Business optimization, how to optimize your listing for more phone calls video. Have a wonderful day.